Don't worry, I don't intend to play any pranks on you in this video. Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and I'm here to do the April Fool's book tag. I saw my friend Xander do this last year, and by that I mean I finally got around to watching the video because my watch later list is ridiculous. And because when I watched it a few days ago, today was coming up, I figured it was a good time to do this. I will link their video down below as well as the original video, which I believe was from 2017-2018, and not a lot of people have done this tag, so if you feel like doing a tag today, you should do this one. The first prompt is Fooled by the Front, a book whose cover has nothing to do with the plot. This is interesting because you can look at a lot of modern covers, especially the ones that just tend to be colors with a very blocky text on them, and assume that it has nothing to do with the plot of the book. But just because we don't get it doesn't mean that there was an intention put into that cover. For example, a cover that was released recently was the Anthropocene Review by John Green, and this is just a bunch of different swirling colors and kind of path shapes with the font on it. Obviously, you can see it, I put it on the screen. However, from watching John's channel, I know that the cover artist actually took into account the pathways that we go down in life to create this kind of path shape that's happening. Like most subjects, he talks about it much more eloquently than I do, but intention went into it, is what I want to say. However, prompts like this always make me think of browsing in a used bookstore with my boyfriend once when he bought this book that had a rocket ship on the cover. I have no idea what this book was because this was years ago, but it had a rocket ship on the cover and he was like, cool, sci-fi, rocket, space, that's wonderful. He edits space videos for a living. And he read the entire book and there was not a rocket in it at all, ever. So those types of covers do exist, I just can't think of anything right now. Number 2 is Don't Joke With My Emotions, a book that lulled you into a false sense of security and then broke your heart. I think it's just a running joke on my channel that I'm going to say words in deep blue, which is just going to make my best friend roll her eyes so hard, and that's honestly why I do it. Hi Taryn! Part of this is my own fault because I went into this book knowing absolutely nothing about it. I picked it up for a readathon where there was a prompt where you just had to read a book with blue on the cover. I saw this book in my library's digital collection when that is all different types of blue, and read it and ended up loving it. It was my favorite book that year. But this is a book about grief and loss of relationships and loss of people, and there are many sad things that happen in this, and it gives you a chance to do some very cathartic crying. Number 3 is Leafing Through Lies, a book with a misleading synopsis. Why did I say it like that? Synopsis. Synopsis. This is hard because, as we all know by now, I don't tend to read synopses. And then of course when I do read a synopsis, sometimes I misconstrue it. For example, when I was reading the synopsis for One Last Stop, however it was phrased, I assumed it was meant to be a retelling of Kate and Leopold, which it is just not. It is pitched as a queer Kate and Leopold, but that's very different than a retelling of. I tried to go to the synopsis to see exactly what it said that made me think this, and I think they've actually changed the synopsis since I read that. The only thing I could find was on an Instagram post where somebody said it was pitched as a queer Kate and Leopold, so either they have changed it on Goodreads and everywhere else, or my brain just completely misconstrued it. Either way, this book is fantastic. You are going to want to read it when it comes out. Number 4 is You Played Yourself, a book you thought you would enjoy, but you didn't. I thought that since We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson was like this classic horror book, and I love horror, that I would love it. I found it really slow. I didn't enjoy it. Shirley Jackson's writing is just not for me. I'm sure it was terrifying when it was published, but I watched way too many horror movies as a kid and I'm pretty desensitized. Number 5 is Personal Prank, a book you keep telling yourself you're going to read and then don't. I mean, honestly, is this not just every book on my TBR? Specifically though, at the beginning of the year I hinted about a secret project that I was going to be doing in 2021, and I am currently dragging my heels on doing that. I want to do it, but then readathons keep popping up and I keep feeling like I need to read other things. And since this is going to be a very long project, actually, I can't tell you how long it's going to be, but it's going to be so many videos long, and I just keep putting off starting the reading I need to do for it, and I should just really do that. Number 6 is Fooled You, a book that caught you by surprise. Bam! Plot twist. When I go into a book and it's got a slight mystery element to it, or even if it's a mystery thriller and it's got a huge mystery element to it, I'm not necessarily trying to figure out what the mystery is for myself. I'm trying to figure it out through the eyes of the protagonist, if that makes any sense. This means that if the book is any good at misdirecting your attention, it's a good book for me because I'm not looking for those things. I try not to read books as though I am looking for how the story is crafted, and that's why plot twists like these Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Let Me Lie, I didn't see them coming because I specifically don't look for them. I find it way more fun to go with how the book wants me to perceive it as opposed to try to figure it out ahead of time. Do I do that sometimes? Yes, absolutely, but I try not to. Number 7 is Fake Your Death, a book that made you think that your fave was untouchable. From watching the original tag, I imagine this is meant to be like you had a favorite character and then they died and you thought that wasn't going to happen and then it did type of thing. And I'm going to twist this a little bit and talk about the protagonist in The Darkness by Ragnar Johansson. This is a book that I read for the Fuckathon. It was for Fuck Ageism because this character is like in her 60s and solving crimes and being fantastic. But something happened with this character that I definitely did not see coming because I thought plot armor was in place and it's the first book in a series, so that's all I'm going to say about it. If you want to see something happen to a protagonist that you do not expect, I've probably ruined the book for you a little bit, but like, try this one out. And number 8 is Foolproof, a book that completely satisfied you. There are many books that fall into this category. I'm just going to throw a couple of them at you. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I absolutely adored this book. It's about these two people that were in love as teenagers and then something happens so they don't see each other for 10 years. They have a chance meeting and you're going back and forth figuring out what happened then and whether or not they're going to get back together and if they still love each other and what happened. And the way that it was revealed was just so fantastic, and I just really was satisfied with how this book went. I also want to mention another book that I read on a complete lark and ended up absolutely enjoying, and that was Trans Wizard Harriet Porber and the Bad Boy Parasaurolophus by Chuck Tingle. I thought that this was just going to be a screw you to a writer that we no longer support, and it was that and oh so much more. This book has 2 trans leads, great sex scenes, wonderful things that happen within the plot. It's also meta at points, which I just love. I really enjoyed this book. I happen to do a whole Spectacular Standalones vlog for this, so you get me reading the book chapter by chapter and then coming back and telling you about it, so check that out if you're interested. And there you have it, that is the tag. If you want to do this tag, you are tagged. If you like, you can wait the whole year like I did. Or you can do it now, or you can do it later this week. Nobody really cares if it's a little bit late. I will of course have the prompts listed down below because I am not a monster. How would you answer these prompts? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you're here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that is down below, as well as the link to my PayPal if you prefer that, or to my Amazon wishlist because my birthday is in 2 weeks. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!